What a shit first period.
Is it still?
Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Be honest, if it was somebody else, I would almost accuse them of taunting me right now. But I know Mike isn't like that. So I'm not going to accuse him of taunting me. And furthermore, I know you even have a little wager on said team.
I've got a bunch. I've got a bunch of wagers. And if it goes too far south, I'll have to get out all my my Vegas night stuff. But you know my bets.
Well, can I just say this? I think what every team in the National Hockey League is looking for is to feature not one, but two rookie goaltenders. I think that's a desirous position that everybody wants to be in. And Mike, here's the reality. Since you're wearing the hat, I had to bring it up. Okay. So I wasn't planning on it. I was going, I'm going to be Habs free tonight, especially after watching the most boring period of hockey that I have easily watched in a long, long time. I'll just leave it at that. Mike, I don't know how much it was a boring period of hockey. 1-1 after one. Yeah. You know what though, Mike? The funny thing is, they made the right choice. Monta blows. I mean, he caught fire last year. Give him his flowers, his credit, and everything. He is fighting everything, and they're really left with no choice but to go with Dobish and Fowler.
They put him down in Laval, didn't they?
Yep.
Montalvo. So he's got some stuff to work out, but you've been saying this since last year, Sean.
He's not good.
We know it's something. No,
there it is. He's not good. I'm telling you. Thank you very much.
So there's no amount of rehab that can fix what he has.
No, he's not, Mike. Like, he's not good. You watch, or you're smart. You're an educated fan. He's not good. He caught fire last year. I give him credit. Tip of the cap. We all know the only reason he made the Four Nations tournament. We all know it, okay? If you don't know it, I will say it for you. He was French-Canadian. That's why he made the tournament, okay? Like, seriously, come on, don't be dumb. He was never going to play because he sucks. But they could check the box and say, we got the token French-Canadian guy.
So I like this.
I'm done. That's it.
I like this. I brought some fire to the show.
Shit.
some mid-December fire. I love it.
Mike, all jokes aside though, since I'm not worried about them. Does that make me sound I'm not I didn't expect the world this year. The one thing I would say is I don't know why Marty doesn't give Demidov more time. It doesn't make sense to me. His minutes per game, the guy just produces. But it might be little things that the naked eye can't see because on television you can't see how well a guy's playing 200 feet, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it.
You shouldn't be worried. I would say they're closer to how they started the season than to how they are playing right now. And with Demidov, it's a long season, Sean. And young kids through playoffs will get worn down. You got to use them sparingly. Then when the time comes, unleash hell.
Yep, that's exactly it. David jumped in. Wings looked dead last night. No spark. You and I were doing a hockey game. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because it really was a fantastic game. I talked to one of the particular coaches for a little while today on the phone, and he called me and he was like, was that game as good as I thought it was? And I said, no, it was better. It was really an enjoyable game last night. But Mike, I don't know if you saw, you got a chance to see it. I saw the quick version, that you can see on the NHL Network and talking to a couple people. David said Wings looked dead last night. No spark. You know what it looked to me like? There were a lot of passengers in the defensive zone. That's what it looked like.
So what it looked like to me is I caught the end of it when I got home. Obviously, I got home a lot faster than you did last night. And what it reminded me of was what my complaint against the Islanders was. There was this run during the Islanders game when the Wings were just dominating. They were skating hard. They were getting the pucks. They were aggressive on the puck. And then they'd go 5 minutes, Sean, like lack of puck possession, nothing. They were dogs. And the word I used was there's too many passengers. From what I saw at the end of the game last night, from what I heard on the broadcast, and from what I've read and saw in the short version, it was a pretty terrible effort last night. It was not only just like I said during the Islanders game, it came in like 5 minute spurts. It was the entire game. And that was a game they have to win.
Yep, no doubt about that. You know what? We usually start with the East and we usually start with the Wings. Can we do the reversed? I want to do the reverse. Can we talk about the West? Because Mike, I've been scouring the standings all day today. And I think the crazy thing that jumps out to me is I would use the term top heavy when you're talking about the West, because obviously you have Colorado, who actually mixed in another loss. I don't know if you saw that. They actually lost. No, they have 2 on the season now. Well, not counting the OT losses,
Yes.
but they have 2. They have 2 on the season. But you have Colorado. I mean, just pacing everybody with 55 points. Dallas is number 2 in the entire league with 49. But if you look at the bottom, if you look at where, for example, Edmonton 38 points, Kings 37 points. The Sharks continue to do some things. I mean, the Sharks, and as we talked about Anaheim, what a great story that is. But Mike, you compare that to what's going on in the East, and that while the East is more jumbled up, I think the East is better top to bottom, 1 to 8. I really do. If you're talking about 1 to 8, the top heavy part of the West, no denying it. Okay. I just think the East is better, but let's stick with the West right now. Is it Dallas and Colorado and virtually everybody else, Mike?
Well, we had this conversation very early in the year, and a team I pointed to that I've spoke highly of since we started this show a couple years ago, Sean, the Minnesota Wild. At that time, they weren't in playoff position, and we knew what was going to be coming. Not the Quinn Hughes trade or anything, but they're too good. You know what I think of their defensive core. So I'm putting them in there with them. So I would go Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota.
Can I add one?
First tier. Go right ahead.
Vegas. I still think Vegas is going to be a bitch come playoff time. I really do.
100%. The problem with it right now is with Hill out and them balancing what's his name, the guy that was in New Jersey, and then Hart, is that they've got to play a different game. Now they've got to sit down and protect the goalie, and they can't be that freewheeling offense. And they still have to work a few things out with D with the guys that they've lost. But I'll agree. I think they're myself. I would put them just below, and then you have my Kings, the Oilers. I'm very worried about Anaheim. I like Winnipeg's going to replace somebody. They just are up in that thing. And more than San Jose, I really like what I see out of San Jose. I would say Anaheim would be falling back, but it's kind of like our rankings for high school hockey, Sean. There's that big jumble of guys that just don't want to get away from anybody. But the Colorado, UP, Dallas.
Let's call it the UP. It's the UP, because I have no idea what's going on in the U. I see a couple of Upers in the chat, Greg Givens and Jason. I have no idea what's going on in the UP from day to day. I just don't. When you think you got it figured out, that team loses to another team who turns around and loses to another team. And that's kind of been the routine so far this year in the UP. It's crazy. Greg said, nice lid, Mike. Go Habs. Greg, you missed early in the show. I had a little meltdown about the Habs. I don't know if you watched the same period I did. That was one of the worst periods of hockey I've seen in a long time. And when you have to roll with 2 rookie goaltenders, boy, that's a position everybody wants to be in. But the alternative is mountain blows, and at least we're consistent about that. I'm glad that you brought up Carter Hart for a second. Mike, I just looked up the numbers. 3-0-2, 227 goals against average, 917 save percentage. Good for him.
Yes.
Good for him. Seriously, good for him.
Now, I want to be nice about this, but we know what plagued him in the beginning of his career up to the moment to where he left for a little bit. It was this, right? Mm-hmm. It was all up here. It was all up here. Philadelphia did him no favors by putting him in as young as he did. I mean, it's really tough on goalies sometimes. That's my worry about him because he had some time off, but that wasn't easy time off, Sean. That has to weigh on you. And you know how relentless fans can be and how people can be. I worry about him up here. We always known he's had the skill, but I worry about it up here. But great to see. Good for him.
A couple other things of note. I have to do something. Being objective, I have to do something, and I know we talked about this. I think our very first show, and we haven't revisited it, Mike. Don Sweeney is doing it again, and I cannot believe he's doing it again. I thought for sure last year that it looked like he doesn't do the full change, especially when a lot of people think that he's on the clock, but he's done the change on the fly for so many years now. And Mike, son of a gun, they're doing it again. The Boston Bruins aren't going anywhere. As a matter of fact, they've been playing better as of late. And Mike, I got to be honest with you. It boggles my mind because I've seen them a few times this year, and they just don't do a lot for me. But they find a way to win games, and you have to give them credit.
I think they're a team that fits perfectly in this East where it's just a bunch of blah. Now, like you said, top to bottom, I think it's a little bit more level and not top heavy like the West. But Boston fits right in there. I mean, they did a period of time without Pasta, Sean, and they didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
And they're doing better than when they had Marchand and all these guys in this team. I don't get it either, but I don't get the Wings. I don't get Boston. I don't get the Islanders. I don't get Philadelphia. I love their piss and vinegar. I always say that. New Jersey's just a Jack Hughes steak knife away from being all right. I like the teams that aren't in it. Florida, Montreal, the Rangers, Toronto. There's going to be some upheaval here. This is not what you're going to see in the playoffs sitting up here. Teams need to get their shit together.
John Gibson this month, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen these numbers. John Gibson, goals against average of 2.935 save percentage. He's been outstanding. Now, this is what, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and you know how, Mike, sometimes when you see teams going like this, and maybe one team's a little bit ahead, this person got a little emotional and accused me of being, slapdick Habs fan and all that. And it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time. All right. But I will say this, John Gibson rolling with a 2 goals against average and a 9.35 save percentage this month is not sustainable. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I hope that you don't yell at me like my friend yelled at me and accused me of being a slapdick. I just said, what on earth makes you think that this is sustainable? And furthermore, is Cam Talbot just going to pick it up when eventually it comes back down to earth? And that's the thing that I'm kind of telling Red Wing fans. And I'm not saying that it's going to collapse. I'm not saying that they might not make the playoffs. I'm not even saying that. But this spell that John Gibson has been under, I don't think that's very sustainable.
Yeah, and first off, I got to address the first thing. I would never accuse you of being a slapdick. I know you're a slapdick, so it's okay, and I appreciate that out of you. But John Gibson is who we've been talking about, Sean, that it's 5 years too late. Yep. The game has passed him by. He's still a nice goaltender. And here's the thing. What we've seen this month when his numbers have gone up is that the Red Wings have played better in longer spurts when he's been in net. If they do that, somewhat of that is sustainable. Not a 9.35 and 2 goals against, but he would be better than he had been early in the year. But it's going to take perfection in front of him, and the Wings are a long ways away from that with just the inconsistencies. And again, when the effort goes down, I mean, you saw it. I mean, that's what happened last night. Look at those goals last night. Yep. Like, what is the defense doing? I mean, When that happens, I don't care who you have back there. They're going to look bad. So the Wings are going to have to protect him.
Tom said 2-0 Ottawa. Pittsburgh looks awful tonight. And it isn't happening for Ottawa. And you have to wonder aloud, all those rumors that we heard loudly and softly in the offseason about trading some of the big pieces, including Crosby and perhaps Malkin and everything. Mike, you have to wonder aloud if we're inching closer to that. If they were smart, they would trade those guys and try to get some value, et cetera, et cetera. The window for the Pittsburgh Penguins has been closed for a few years now. I think that's safe to say. Will they? I don't know. I mean, you know, the big rumor was Sid. I'm not even going to mention it, but a lot of people in the know were kind of like, there's one person that could make this happen, and it's Sidney Crosby. It isn't the Pittsburgh Penguins. It isn't the Montreal Canadiens. If Sid Crosby said, I want to go someplace, it might be the Colorado Avalanche, for goodness sake, right? If I want to go, then Sidney Crosby will go. If Sidney Crosby doesn't want to go, then Sidney Crosby's not going to go. So I'm going to be really interested to see how that plays itself out.
I think Penguin fans should be enthused with some goings on this week. I think, my opinion and one man's opinion only, you know what I think of their GM. I think he's an absolute boob, but the move he made to get Skinner for Jari may seem like nothing to a lot of people, but you just traded a 2-time Stanley Cup finalist for a guy that has 2 playoff wins.
Yep.
I really like that move. And we've said it for 2 years straight. Skinner's going to go Skinner, and he ends up in the finals, right?
And he comes back. And he comes like Mike, remember? I mean, he's been counted out both runs. And he came back, and all of a sudden he picked his game up.
And not to, unless I heard this wrong, Penguins are being sold again.
Shocker, huh?
Right. You know, Hey, maybe that'll be a little shot in the arm, something. But so if for what you were saying, they have to make those trades. They have to make it while it's hot and get as much as they can out of that so that they can start building off what they have.
A couple comments. Boston Rob, my buddy Boston Rob Bennett from East Lansing in the chat. And he's asking, we were talking about the Bruins a second ago, but we'll revisit it. First, Austin, always nice to hear from Austin. Wings make sense. All gas, no brakes. Defense is dumb anyway. Islanders make sense if you watch them. Very structured. Okay, you guys ready? Mike, you ready? You want to call me a slapdick again? Patrick Waugh's doing a great job with them, period. He really is. Patrick's doing a great job with them.
That's 100% done with mirrors. There's a reason that guy still has his job for a team that's kind of looks like they might be underproducing, but he really has. And we've said it since the moment he got that job, Sean, was that he was different. He wasn't the Patrick Waugh that left the NHL. He was a little bit different, but he still has that fire in him. But that's another team. I just said it. I mean, I don't get the Islanders with it, but yet they play. They play, and here we are.
I'll tie in what Austin said to what Boston Rob asked us as well. Boston doesn't make sense. Like Austin, I know you're late to the show, and this is for you as Rob. Look, it pains me to say it. I can't tell you guys how much I dislike the Bruins. Mike knows this. My dog Chelios would bark and growl if somebody said the word Bruins. That is a true story. You can look at Mike's face. That will tell you the story. You said Bruins around my dog. I trained him. He would bark and growl. That I do not like the Bruins, okay? Hate is a strong word. I hate the Bruins. Okay, so now that we've got that established, all right, I give a total tip of the cap to Don Sweeney for doing it again, because I think he resisted the urge of selling. And remember, people were talking, where's Pasta going to go? Well, Pasta might not go in the summer. That might be a guy you get rid of next year. And even at the beginning of the year, Mike, both of us, I don't mean to call you out. Both of us were like, hey, this is a cute start, but the Bruins are going to come down to earth. They're not coming down to earth right now. I don't know how they're doing it. I'm being very sincere. I've seen them multiple times this year, and there isn't. What's the word I'm looking for? There isn't a secret sauce going on there. You know what I mean? And to Rob's point, hey, big time props to Marco for the job he's doing with the Bruins right now. If anything, they're kind of going like this again. They're 7-3 in their last 10, if I'm not mistaken. So if anything, they're kind of going like this again when everybody thought that they'd be going like that. So big time props to Sweeney and Marco for the job that they're doing right now in Boston.
And we look around the NHL, Sean, and some of the teams that aren't doing well. And this goes to Marco Sturm, and we say it all the time. What the fuck is going on in Buffalo, right? And we brought it up a couple weeks ago, coaching, right? They've never had that coach. Has a coach ever left there? Sturm speaks to the coaching and the importance when you have a team like this, because he's getting them to survive.
Austin said, hold on, let me try to, and let me scroll up, you guys. Hold on just a second. Let me try to, there's a couple that I missed. I apologize. Skinner is wild because you can make a montage of him being the worst goalie in the history of hockey. Then he'll wheel off three. Factual statement. Absolutely a factual statement. And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. And I know how close they came in particular a couple years ago. Mike, I just don't think you're winning a Stanley Cup with that guy. And I know that sounds crazy because they were this close away. And then last year, obviously they were more like that close away. But I just don't think when push comes to shove, that's the guy that's going to outplay a Bob in the Stanley Cup final. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He's not the first guy I'm taking on my team to do that. However, he's done enough to get there, and if you can get there, there's always a chance. And Christian Jarry never got there, so but I hear you guys 100%. He's Skinner. It's pure entertainment.
Isn't that nuts? Our buddy in London, Ontario, Tom, Sid is 1 point back of Mario for all-time Pittsburgh points. Isn't that unbelievable? It is unbelievable.
Wow,
Listen, I've been made fun of so many times, Mike. Why don't you go make love to Sidney Crosby? I've heard it. Like, you guys, all right, seriously, okay, drop it. Like Sid's one of the best players you're ever going to see. Like, the sooner you accept it, you can still hate him. That's okay. And that was the problem I always had with the bit, Mike, especially here in Detroit after the back-to-back, appearances in the Stanley Cup. If you want to say you hate him, fine. If you want to say he's a bitch, fine. Don't tell me he's overrated or he sucks and stuff like that. That's where you lost me. I love Sid the Kid. I absolutely love him. He shows no signs of slowing down, and who knows how many more years a guy like that can play.
Yeah, it would drive me crazy. The start of the conversation usually was he's a bitch, and I'd say one of the biggest bitches that ever played the game was Yzerman. I mean, the guy was always whining and crying. He was your captain, and my feelings on Yzerman. But as soon as they would get into the cross, okay, he just sucks. Okay. Conversation's over.
All right,
that's just the dumbest thing I've heard.
Product of the Canadian media. How many times did we hear that? He's a product of the Canadian media. Okay. That was so funny. I used to say that many years ago, Mike. I don't know if you remember me talking about that on the radio. I mean, when people would say that, I was like, the ex-referee Paul Stewart came out with like literally a list of his biggest whiners, and Steve Yzerman was number 3 on the list, right? Yeah. Like it's okay. Like it's okay. It's another Livonia legend. Red Wings can't seem to get both goalies going at the same time. 2-3 weeks ago, everyone wanted Todd to play Talbot and get rid of Gibson. Now vice versa. Craig, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, this heater that he's on in the month of December. What is it? A goals against a 2.935 save percentage. Enjoy it, because it ain't going to stick around. Like, if you haven't figured out yet what John Gibson is, I can't help you.
It's got nothing to do with either goaltender and how that team plays in front of them. That's all it is right now. They're playing better in front of Gibson for longer periods of time.
Hey, Mike, can I take that a step further? And damn hat that you're wearing tonight. So much of the team, that damn hat you're wearing tonight, so much of that team right now is predicated on how well they're playing in front of their goaltenders as well. I know it's easy to throw the goaltenders under the bus all the time. Shout out to my guy, Jason, who's in the chat. I know it's easy to throw goaltenders under the bus. Man, I'll tell you what, they are so lax in their defensive zone sometime. Honest to God, it's very Red Wing-esque. It's very Red Wing-esque. Like, what are you doing? Like, did you buy a ticket? Did you buy a ticket to watch the game? There's a lot of that shit going on with the Habs right now, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's the learning that they have to do. They making the playoffs last year was a learning part. Now they've got to be able to play for extended period of times, protecting their goalie. And we know this, Sean, that is very tough for young teams to do, because young kids come in as offensive stars almost 90% of the time. They scored goals in juniors. They scored goals their whole life. They have to learn to play face-off. I look at Demidov was a dog. What was that, the second game or first game he was in when he stopped skating? The guy goes down and he's learning to play. He's playing a little bit more of a 200-foot game. The more guys they get playing that 200-foot game, yeah, he needs more ice, but that's coming. It's December. It's December. No one wins the Stanley Cup in December. We're good. We are good.
I tell you what, honest to God, they miss Caden Gooley so much it's absurd. They really do. They miss him so much it's absurd. Like you really see it now. Hey, All About Catering LLC, a full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is the number one goal. So do not sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. I'll tell you what, folks, Rick and his staff have done stuff for my family and I, and you won't be disappointed. Mike, can I ask you about the Carolina Hurricanes? Because the Carolina Hurricanes, as we know, I'm not just saying this because I was fortunate to do games for them and all that stuff. Incredibly talented team. I think 2-3 years ago, they had a slew of players that were flying under the radar, both up front and in particular on their defense. Now I think people know, but as you know, and we've talked about on the show the last couple of years, it always has come back to, is this what we're doing with our goaltenders? Is this what we're doing with our goaltenders? And all of a sudden, Mike, you've got a guy in Brandon Bussey who has come in and gone 11-1 with a 205 goals against average, a save percentage well over 9. Listen, am I sitting here saying that the guy is the answer and this is exactly what they're looking for? It's premature to say that, especially when he hasn't exactly shown that in his background. But my goodness gracious, it goes to show you how good a team like the Carolina Hurricanes can be when you see them go like this in the standings to coincide with actually getting some pretty darn good, consistent goaltending.
Yeah, they could be one of the more deeper teams. I said last week that I just loved what I seen out of them. But however, every time we say something like this, Sean, we have to talk about Freddie Anderson. And that's who they are going to put in net. No matter what Mr. Busey does, it is going to be Freddie Anderson when it comes into it. But I'm just scrolling here real quick. And you forget, Hall on this team, Stankhoven down towards that. These are all guys that are just going to be weapons in the playoffs when you have that depth coming out of there. Slavin's not even back. Love this team, Sean. I mean, this is going to be a team. They're going to make a move. You know that they're going to make a move at the deadline. They're going to get themselves solid. But I still can't get past Freddie Anderson. I just can't do it. No.
And you know what? Honestly, Mike, I'm going to say I don't know if Busty's the answer. I don't. But I know this. There's no surprise that I'm watching them go like this in the time that this kid's come in. He's 11-1. The numbers back it up. But I mean, here's let's face it, completely unheralded goaltender. There's no ooh and ah there. A guy that played at Western Michigan, a guy that went undrafted, a guy that kind of kicked around for a little bit, gets an opportunity. He's making the most of it with a good team. Good for him.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, he could be their Cam Ward. We'll have to see. It's going to have to go over time. But here's the thing. When Brendan Moore's your coach, Sean, you have no option. You're going to play in front of that goaltender. And if he's a step up, I'm not saying he is Patrick Waugh. I'm not saying he's one of the greatest. But if he's a step up from Freddie Anderson, watch out, because they've looked dangerous with Freddie Anderson in the net when it comes down to the playoffs.
Buffalo must have a record for the most GM in a 10-year period. It is. I can't. I don't get it. It's beyond. Remember, for years, like Edmonton, so much talent and just could never ever put it together and everything. This is, Mike. It's absurd. It really is. It's absurd with all the talent that they've had in their system. That, and I always use this, there's got to be something in the water. I can't figure it out. I really can't. And you're at the point where you look at it and you go, well, eventually they're going to get it right. And I mean, we're years of saying that now. It really is remarkable.
And again, we talked about it last week with the coach. I mean, what coach has left Buffalo? Again, someone can deny menace and done anything. However, they've had players leave and do well, and they've had stars sign with them and come in and absolutely suck. Like it is the craziest thing. We crave for them. We've talked about this for years, Sean. We want them to be good, but Buffalo being good and relevant in the NHL is a good thing, and it's just been so freaking long. I don't get it. I need them to have a coach that isn't a million years old.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let me get Talbot is UFA after this year. Kosa coming up next year. Another Holland era player gone with Berge. Rasmussen is next. Books are getting corrected. It's heading in the right direction. I'm sorry. I've said this for 4 years now, and I'm going to continue to say it. I think people have continuously around here wanted to put the cart in front of the horse. Mike, you are seeing progress, and that progress starts with all the young players coming into this roster and chipping in and at least giving you signs of, oh, okay, I can see this and I can see that. But again, I would say let's not put the cart in front of the horse just yet. There's a big difference between I think this guy's going to be something special. Dare I say, I think this guy's going to be a star, and a guy actually being special and actually being a star. And I think it's fair to say right now, do the Red Wings have that guy? It might be ASP. It might, right? It might be. I thought Casper would take a bigger step up than he has. I think I thought everybody in the world, Mike, thought that Raymond would take a step up, especially after the way he finished the season 2 years ago. We've talked so many times about Mo Seider. I like the guy a lot, but again, you had people around here saying one of the best defensemen in the league, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's a better place. But I think all those things are still in place, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a better place. And I tell you, I had my phone out. I was getting ready to text you during the Islanders game that I'm in. And then all of a sudden, boom, they have those lapses. But I'll tell you what, you saw my reaction. That was one of the first games that I could tell you from start to finish, I thought Raymond dominated. Mm-hmm. I thought he was on it. I didn't get to see enough of the game last night. I'm going to imagine he was probably a dog like the rest of them, and that's a problem. That's a culture problem. But it's there. They need more. If they get more pieces to support Raymond and Seider, I think they could be not what everyone thinks they are, top of the, MVP, Norris and crap like that, but they can be better than the guys that we think they are.
I think that's absolutely fair. Let me tell you about my buddies, the Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, those are the two guys you need to talk to. Two brothers, Mike Cusack and Jeff Cusack, located in historic downtown Northville with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one, but if you are ready to start taking your finances more seriously, you should be, then it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends. I'm also a client at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. I want to talk about high school hockey before we're getting out of here. We've just bullshitted for 34 minutes. Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Sid has been consistent for 20 years. I can't tell you how much of a fan I am of Sid Crosby. Most of you guys know it and have made fun of me for years because of it. What do you guys think of Cole Perfetti? Winnipeg's situation looks grim, that it's a guy I think coming into his prime might be snagged for a price. Isn't it amazing? Because he looked like he was well on his way last year, Mike. What do you have, like 50 points? I think he had 50 points. I remember him well in Saginaw. And right now, there's just no other way to say it. Hockey news, based, do you remember, who can forget the infamous your 2019 Stanley Cup champion Winnipeg Jets? Because as we know, all prospects pan out. Ask Scott Harris, all prospects pan out, and they're going to be the greatest players ever. Winnipeg has been a cute little team that hasn't been able to do anything. But right now, to Austin's point, this is a guy with 7 points in 19 games, and he's a hell of a lot better than that.
Yeah, sometimes, Sean, you just got to get out of Winnipeg. I don't know how good that situation is for him. It's a town that can eat you alive. We've heard it many times. That's a place that maybe he's just needs to get out of.
Yep. Gordy said, Mike, great take on 19. Austin said, I'd like to congratulate Hamonic for taking the torch from Petrie as the Red Wing fan base whipping boy. Can we ban the phase "we're good"? Yes, please. Yes, we can ban that phrase "we're good."
That's a privilege.
It is a privilege too. We're gonna have a privilege. I know everyone is splurging over the 3 teams in the Central, but the Ducks have some sandpaper fellas. I really like that team. We were talking about it earlier. Do they stick around? I'm not so sure about that. San Jose is the one right now that's kind of going, ooh, you know what I mean? And again, I think the crazy thing about this, Mike, is, for some of these teams, all right, the Hawks still have a lot left in the system that we haven't seen. The Habs still have a lot in the system that we haven't seen. Anaheim, San Jose, some of those teams, there's still some stuff to come that has you pretty excited.
Yeah, and you can be excited when what you have up is working, right? When you have the flash and stars, the Celebrinis and such, then you can get excited about what's coming.
Boy, Craig, I was doing the games. I don't know if you remember, Mike, this. Thoughts on the Hughes trade? Kenny should have drafted him, Bouchard or Dobson back in 2018. Thanks for not taking a Zadina. Habs. Well, they took Coco, so there's that.
Yeah.
I told anybody that would listen that I saw 2 guys I would go to war with Brady Tkachuk, and I would still go to war with Brady Tkachuk. And this is not an exaggeration. I said it back then. I'll say it right now. I saw a ton of kids in the OHL. I saw a ton of kids in the USHL. Quinn Hughes is one of the most beautiful skaters I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. And Mike, I don't even know what other word to use. He really is. He's a beautiful skater. He makes it look effortless. And in today's National Hockey League, I knew that this would be a kid that you would covet. And for him to slide down 7th, didn't he go 7th, if I'm not mistaken, to Vancouver?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Was absolutely criminal. Now, Tkachuk went 4, if my memory serves me correct. You can fact check me. Tkachuk went 4, and then obviously Coco, and then Zadina, and then Quinn Hughes. I mean, an absolute miss by 6 different teams not to take that kid. I have no other way to say it.
I mean, I still don't know how the Nets in Montreal survived from all those goals Zadina pumped into.
Do you remember that?
So bad.
I will score all these goals. I will pump the goals in. He turned French Canadian. I don't know.
Just gonna say that.
He just turned French Canadian. Galley just.
That was so good.
I needed to verbalize that to you. Is that all right? Galley just scored. Wings have no players left in the organization from the 2018 draft. I watched the Tkachuk's podcast, and I may as well have watched 2 cavemen start a fire and try to sex cave woman. Great players, but major Gronk energy. That's freaking great. That's
I would have taken a picture of that and just keep that on my phone. That with the quote, that little story I sent you today. Those are 2 great ones.
Do you want to share that story, or do you want to keep it to yourself?
You can share. All I can say is butt carrots.
Butt carrots. I think a lot of people get. I think people. I see now. I have to look it up. Will you apologize? I just want to make sure that I was right about that. Okay. Okay. It was Coco at 3, Tkachuk at 4. Barrett Hayton went to Coyotes at 5. Zadina went at 6. Quinn Hughes went to 7. Kyle
couple
Holland
of
was a
misses.
terrorist towards the end of his tenure with the Wings. 5 to 7 years of missed draft picks, all misses. It was, how can I say this? And I remember I said this on Fox when I was on Fox all the time. I really firmly believe, Mike, that they read all their press clippings. I honestly, I read the Red Wing way, all that stuff. I think they read all the press clippings, and I will always I like Ken personally. He's one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He was always gracious with me. I don't have anything against Ken Holland, the man. I want to get his back in this regard, though. I am pretty sure that the owner of this hockey club wanted to keep that dumb streak going. I'm pretty sure of that. You're going to have to now. Could he have navigated the waters differently, and could he have helped the team out more by hitting more in the draft? Yes, absolutely. But Mike, I got crucified when they made the decision to sign Pavel Datsyuk. My mindset was why? It didn't make any sense to me. It didn't. I'm sorry. At that point in his career, you want him to take one more victory lap? Oh, and you're going to give him a 3-year contract. Oh, by the way, he didn't even fulfill all 3 years. And unfortunately, those are the tough decisions that you have to make. And they were, as a franchise at the time, the franchise that did not want to make those tough decisions. Mark my words when I say this. Steve Yzerman is not that guy. When it comes time, and maybe Kaner, whoever it is, he is not going to flinch to get rid of your fan favorite. He's just not going to flinch to get rid of your fan favorite. Sorry. That's not his MO.
That's going to shock a lot of people because we have not seen that, Sean. No, that they've been way too loyal, whether it's the Lions or whomever. Detroit teams have been way too loyal to their people.
Can I bring this up very quickly? Let me do this last read, and then I want to bring this up. When it's time to get yourself a house, whether you're buying or selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Well, this lady right here, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up in the area. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Can we petition to keep our boy Trevor doing the FanDuel stuff full time? Not trying to be a jerk, but Logan Reaver doesn't know puck and looks like he should be doing the weather in Jacksonville. You might remember, Austin, back in the day, I did a few years worth of ice time with Trevor. A lot of fun, great guy. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. You see Mike's hat. Trevor's a fan. Shh, don't tell anybody, though. Don't tell anybody. Shh.
We talked to him at the game last year, didn't we?
Trevor's a fan. Just don't tell anybody. Tom says Merry Christmas. Isn't that nice?
Yes, I like that. Thank you, Tom.
Mike, you and I, something near and dear to both of our heart is high school hockey. And shout out to Escanaba. We said that they were the highest rated team in the UP, at least the most consistent, because everybody's been like this in the UP. You and I were very fortunate the last couple games to do two incredible, and I don't use that word lightly, two incredible hockey games. What's one of the things you hear people say all the time about this game at the high school level? It just kind of clods along, and there isn't a lot of speed. There isn't great pace or anything. Mike, honestly, that Catholic Central Toledo St. Francis game was incredible pace. And that game that we saw last night, the Battle of Livingston County between Brighton and Howell, was absolutely unbelievable. It really was. And I want to urge people, seriously, there's nothing in this for me. I hope you guys know that. There's nothing in it for me. Go out and check some of the action in your backyard. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm even going to push you out of your backyard, unless your backyard is Livingston County. You have to get out and you have to see this Howell team. You have to see Luke Storm. Sean, I've been getting texts all day. I know now that I'm on the show with you because I'm getting texts about kids and where they should be on that list. But him, Wolf, and Escala on that line is something to behold. It's not a lot when you see three big kids like that in a high school hockey dominate when they have the puck. And then you throw Chad Pietla out there, who, again, my opinion, Luke Storm has arrived. He put the entire state on notice there. Chad Pietla is just dynamic. You guys have to get out there and see, you have to get out there and see that. That is a special team right now.
It really is. Look at Tom Nugent, one of the coaches for Catholic Central. Shout out to the Shamrocks doing Shamrock things. They're so fun to watch. The St. Francis game that you and I did out in Fraser, and then last night that Howell Brighton game, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And there's still something to be said about that goalie that stands on his head. And I talked to Coach Cavisto today, and I'll tell you what, Mike, the way Hutch played last night, their goaltender. Hey, look out. You get that guy in a playoff, man. One game playoff, and that guy stands on top of his head, and you're going to be bounced out of the playoff. It's just that simple. We see it at every level of hockey.
Yeah, that performance last night was a performance that could have easily stole that game that I don't think many people had on their bingo card, Brighton beating Howell last night. And he stood on his head and looked very similar to a Brighton goalie of the past. Matter of fact, his parents came up and said hello to us after, Levi Piniella. And that's a name that comes when you see that Brighton Bulldog jersey and a goalie making about 45 saves in a game and trying to take it over. And, while we've got Nuge here and talking about goaltenders, we got to talk about Nicholas Kogut and CC. We said a while ago, Sean, that they had some things to figure out and they started figuring them out and they started going. But that whole time, the consistent was that netminder and Nicholas Kogut. When that team broke down, he was making those saves and he's kept them in these wins every game.
Mike, and I think no coincidence, I had an arduous task of trying to put out a ranking this past week. And I openly admit it. I went the coward's way. I had to do a 1, 2, 3, but I said, if you want to pick any of these three teams as number one, I'm not going to give you any argument. Vinny Sabala, Rayburn, and Kogut. Coincidence? I think not. Those are the three goaltenders for those teams. Vinny Sabala in Heartland, Rayburn in Howell, and Kogut in Catholic Central. It is the great equalizer. I don't care what anybody says. And conversely, even if you're on a team that maybe isn't as loaded as that top tier, how many times have you seen it? That guy gets hot, and the next thing you know, this is a team that isn't losing any games. The one that comes to my mind was Country Day a few years back. Frank 2 years in a row. About halfway through the season, their goaltender just said, okay, I'm not giving up any more goals anymore. And then he went on to Bowling Green. So it's amazing how that always seems to work itself out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish it. No,
I was just going to say that every time we talk about that top three, the way it is right now, not saying that's what it's going to be when we get back after the holidays. Sure. It looks like it might be. But when I see that, it absolutely breaks my heart for the game of high school hockey that we are only going to get one of those teams at USA Arena. That's a conversation for another day and a heated conversation at that. But every time we talk about Howell, Heartland, and CC, that right now, I tell you right now, we're in December. We're a while away from the playoffs. Those three teams should be standing at USA Arena, and it would be a great day for high school hockey.
By the way, they called back Gallagher's goal. I don't know what it was. They had it up on the board, and then they took it off the board, so it's 1-1. It's cool. Can't beat the passion mixed with the physicality of high school and college hockey. It's noticeable even to people who might be watching their first hockey game. Kyle asked us, I haven't even had this conversation with you, Mike. He said, what are you putting on the smoker for Christmas? Now, for me, we'll get into World Junior next week, by the way, Tom. Mike and I are going to do this again Tuesday. We said we were going to do 35 minutes tonight. Here we are at 48. But Mike, very quickly, you know the routine with me. We always host Christmas Eve. It's kind of one of those all-day things. People come over all day. So I'll let you go first. You tell me what you're doing, and then I'll explain to everybody what I'm doing.
I haven't figured it out yet, is the funny thing, because you know the point where I am in my life is that my kids don't live at home. So I have to wait for them to come home. And then I just literally say, what do you want? Go get it, bring it, I'll cook it. And it starts early. So our whole thing's going to start tomorrow because a good friend of ours, Ava Pattison, who played hockey with my daughter, is coming into town. And she loves when I cook for her. So the holiday cooking is going to start tomorrow. But literally, Sean, I have no idea what they're going to bring me. I've heard surf and turf. So I don't know. And this year, I'm not even doing them. I'm not even going to be at my house for Christmas Eve or Christmas.
One more thing. I'm going to get to your thing. Let me explain. So Christmas Eve for us, I have the surf. We always have shrimp. I love my shrimp. I love it raw. I love putting it on the grill. I love shrimp. Big fan of shrimp.
Are you andouilling it?
I am andouilling it. Absolutely. So I got that. I got to do pigs in the blanket. The kids love pigs in the blanket. Okay. I have two small briskets, two small briskets, 2 points that I'm going to do. They're small. It's I would say for about 20 people. I have a smaller, I think it's a 12-pound turkey that I'm going to do the traditional turkey. And then I have a 19-pounder that I'm going to make for the Cajun. And then only because of my daughter, I have a small smoked ham. And that's it. So yeah, nothing extravagant, just a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, last question before we get out of here. Craig asks, who's better, Michigan or Michigan State? Have you seen either one of them play, much of them?
I haven't seen much of them, but from what I've seen, I mean, they split, they each went one on the road. That's college hockey for you. When I watch it, I like more of what I see out of State, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they're too far apart. I don't think this is a who's better. It's who's going to show up and play through the emotions when they play each other.
I think Michigan has more top-end talent. I think Michigan State has more grit. How's that?
And that's how you know that you know what I'm like and what I like and what I'm looking for when we're watching games, and that's exactly what it is.
All right. So we'll do this again Tuesday, right? Mike, You're free Tuesday because you.
Yep.
The fact that you do that with the hat too, it makes me look at my calf because I have that. See that same logo that I have that. I don't know if you know, I have that on my calf.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Todd, thank you. Thanks to all of you guys. Talk to you Tuesday night. Bye-bye. Peace.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.